everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am so glad you're here today. For those of you who are new, welcome. I'm so glad you're here also. I am hopping on today to continue my series that I've been doing with the different breeds of Angora rabbits. And as you can see, I have one hanging out in my arms right now. So far I have done, let's see, which ones have I done? The French and the satin Angoras are what I've covered so far. Today we're going to be talking about English Angoras, and I have, this is Flynn. Whoop. He is an English Angora, and he, I'm going to actually, when I get done here, I'm going to groom him because he's pretty full. I've got fluff flying everywhere, and so let's hop into the video. So when I first started this journey 20 years ago, English Angoras are actually what I stumbled across first. I went to a fiber festival here in northern Michigan and turned the corner into the animal barn, and there was Charlie, an English Angora, and I had never seen them before, and I absolutely fell in love and still love the English Angora today. Not necessarily for the fiber, but I just think they're the cutest of all the bunnies. I think they're adorable. I just love their little faces. English are the only ones that have fiber, the furnishings on their face, and everywhere they have full furnishings. I have trimmed his head and his cheeks because he had a few mats on the side here, so I've trimmed that. But typically when you see a, and these ones are always fun to look up on the internet, if you see a show English, they are just huge balls of fur. They have a pretty compact body, as you can see. They are the smallest of the four recognized rabbits. So let's jump into just the basics. And I wanted to read a really interesting blurb. I'm going through this book still, completely Angora. And there's a section here I want to read to you guys because it's super interesting to me in regards to their fiber. So let's talk about them. Like I said, they have the full face furnishings, and they're the only one of the four that do have that. They weigh anywhere from 5.5 to 7.5 pounds. So they are on the smaller side of the rabbits. They're not real big. They are a very, I think they have more personality in some ways. Of course, it always depends on the rabbit, but these would make great pets. Indoor rabbits, they have quite a full personality about them. Their wool is very fine in diameter. It has lower guard hair than the other ones, and it mats really, really easily. So with an English, you're going to have a little bit more work. But you can get, even with their smaller size, you can get anywhere between 12 to 16 ounces a year from them, which is a pretty good amount for a, 5-6 pound bunny. I had an English Angora. She actually just passed away this last winter. She was turning 10. She would have been 10 in March. So she was just, I think she passed away in December or December. And so she was just a few months shy of being 10 years old. And up until like last fall, she was still one of my best rabbits in regards to fiber. She had beautiful fiber. I was continually amazed. And you will find that even if you see, or I say, the English Angora it's gonna mat really easy and it doesn't have a lot of guard hairs, you're gonna find rabbits, or with the French or whatever it is, all the rabbits are gonna be a little bit different. They might not follow that path of, it has terrible matty hair or whatever. You might find where you get one that has just beautiful fiber. And Flopsy, that was the name of my English, she was one of those rabbits that just had gorgeous fiber. And she always, like I said, up until last year, she was 9 years old and she was still giving me a ton of fiber. So everything that you see or I say in regards to the rabbit, you might have a rabbit that doesn't fit that bill necessarily. It's just the way it goes. Some of them have different fiber. I've had really rabbits that I've paid for, paid good money for, and really didn't have great fiber at all. So it's going to depend. So lower guard hairs at mats easier. Their lifespan is anywhere between 5 and 8 years old. Again, the one that I had would have turned 10. So it just depends on, you know, how they are raised and how well they do, feed, things like that. And so, yeah, it's just going to depend. You can, so with the English Angora having less guard hair, you can tell when you're spinning, maybe not a novice, but someone who's handled the fiber for so long, you can kind of tell the difference. And typically I blend all of my fibers. So if I have white, French, and English, and I think that's all I have in white right now. I will blend their fibers and either hand card it or whatever, but I can kind of tell the difference between whose is whose in regards to just by the guard hairs and the texture of the wool. You can tell what in English is. It's just super, super soft. I wanted to read this blurb because I thought it was super interesting in regards to how you do groom your rabbits. This might make you change your mind on how you groom them. This says, the English Angora has lost so much of its ability to produce hair that when it is shorn, the coat frequently lacks sufficient lock architecture to resist matting. Because of this, the English coat not only requires more grooming in order to keep it in good condition, it may need to be removed by plucking in order to reestablish the growth of supporting guard hairs. And I actually should have let me read the blurb right before it. It was talking about plucking and clipping. When a coat is plucked, the next coat regrows a significantly heavier percentage of hair, which I thought was interesting. When you pluck your rabbits, it's going to grow back heavier. The result of plucking English coats and the selection of show-winning stock with the least amount of guard hair works essentially at cross purposes. So when you're plucking your rabbit, you're actually, if I understand that right, you're actually going to have it produce more fiber as it grows back in, which I thought was super interesting in regards to if you have a rabbit that you shear all the time, and its coat's not really growing back great, maybe you want to consider either plucking or, I don't know if there's a huge difference. I guess I've never looked this up. I use my comb, which I have right here. I always use this to groom my rabbits, and I don't know if this would be counted as, well, I know it's not plucking, but would it have make the same effect as what plucking would do on a rabbit? So it's interesting. You might want to try that if you have a rabbit that its coat isn't really great. Maybe try plucking or combing it instead of shearing it, and see if you can see changes in the way it's growing back. I just thought that was super interesting. So yeah, kind of same thing I did when I was reading. I'm reading another book also right now. I have a lot of books I'm reading right now. I have, I think I have 3 or 4 on Angora rabbits, and then some on aspects of raising your own animals and things like that. But I thought it was super interesting that, okay, sorry about that. I had to plug my phone in. I didn't realize battery was almost gone. What I was saying was I found it really interesting as I've been reading that back, I think it was 1939 when they first started recognizing, or I don't know if that's when the American Rabbit Breeders Association started, but originally there was only one breed of rabbit, and they called it the Angora Woolers. I think is what the title was of that. And the French and English fell underneath that category. So they didn't separate them out. It was just the one category. So I thought that was kind of neat. Yeah, so I think that's it. I know you guys are going to ask, you know, how long is their fiber? It's going to be like all the other Angoras. It's going to be like his right now is probably a good 3 or 4 inches. It's going to depend on the rabbit though, again. So for my purposes for spinning, I like all of my fiber to be 3 to 5 inches long. And so that's what I always look for. And so if you're taking good care of them and feeding them well and stuff, you're going to be able to achieve that on on an adult. Oh, and he does have English do have the crimp to them too. So I can see that here on his coat. He's got a nice crimp to it. They did say that English was more difficult to spin in some of the stuff that I read. Again, I kind of blend mine often when I have all of my white. I have, what do I have? 4 white French. And then I have 2, 3 white English. So when I'm grooming, I do all my whites in one day and I'll just mix it all together. And so that's how I do all my fiber. So once it's blended, you wouldn't know the difference between the different breeds, I don't think. And I have never struggled with spinning Angora because I started with Angora. That was what I started spinning on a drop spindle many years ago. So I enjoy using it. Once you start on spinning Angora, it's really hard to spin other stuff, in my opinion. It's hard to spin other things because other things feel so rough compared to Angora, which is kind of funny. So I think that's it on the English. He's kind of tucked himself in here. I think he knows I'm going to groom him today. So you can see his little ears here. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. I am filming ahead because I've got some stuff coming up here. So actually you're not going to see this video. It's going to actually be a week and a half to 2 weeks out. But that's okay. I'm going to shut this down. I'm going to run out and film another video outside in the rabbit colony. So that one will be coming up in 2 weeks also. So I hope you guys are having a fantastic day, and I hope this video was helpful, and I hope you get to create something today. Bye.